Welcome to a brand new podcast series from Watch Emad, where we talk about watches, vintage collections, and everything in between and what's going on in the watch market. And to take you through with this episode, I have with me Emad. Emad,
Hi,
welcome to your own watch series or watch
pleasure to be here.
podcast. So, Emad, what's going on right now? It's 2024, a brand new year right now for the watch collectors as well. Are we going to see new releases from Rolex, or what's your hot take for 2024?
In terms of hot takes, Inshaf, it's still a little early to say because obviously the releases happen in about March, April, for 2024, 2025 as well. But obviously it's a brand new year, especially in the Sri Lankan market. We have quite a few challenges that we are expecting to, or we are seeing at the moment. With the things are in the country, but so far so good. It's 2023 was a great year, I would say. 2024 also we have big expectations and hopes, to do the same, but also do better, to try new things. But in terms of the market also, so far things are the same. Nothing has really changed. The price wise, prices are pretty stable. And there is no big fluctuations in prices and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. Watch trends are the same, prices are the same. So far so good. We're yet to see what the new releases are and what the market.
So, Imad, I think I wanted a hot take, but you went on to describe a whole lot of details. But yes,
Yeah.
so a lot of positives in the first place to look
Definitely.
forward to in 2024. So it's been about 2.5 years since the watch boutique kicked off in Sri Lanka, and to
4
see
years.
4 years. Okay, it's been 4 years since the watch boutique kicked off in Sri Lanka, and over those 4 years, I think you've seen a lot of new developments and a lot of change. And I'd say personally, to think about it, we've got a lot of people attracted and also engaged with the whole luxury watch community. And I think that might be a biggest win for you in terms of the watch boutique as well. But before all that, how did it start? What was that light bulb moment for you to start the whole watch initiative?
I think I've said this story many times, but for those that don't know, actually Watch Emad, or what my Instagram is, ties down to Watch Before, what the Watch Boutique even used to be. So when I was in uni back in 2017, 2018 is when I caught the watch bug. So as a uni student, obviously I couldn't really afford many of the pieces that I saw online. So I used to save up a few $100, buy a watch for myself, wear it for a little while, and then sell that and buy something else for myself later. So that is what technically snowballed into what we see as the watch boutique here. So I would say I started first selling watches in 2018. I would sometimes even borrow watches from friends, sell it from them, make a little bit of money, and use that, obviously always buy myself more watches. So even back in 2018 is when I actually started my Instagram. That's where I would just share photos of watches that I have, that I'm wearing, stuff like that. So it's always been an enthusiastic or an enthusiast driven initiative. So 2018 to 2020, I used to collect, buy and sell watches in Australia, and then I moved back to Sri Lanka in end of 2020. Jan 2021 is when I actually officially started the watch boutique in Sri Lanka, because I saw a huge gap in the enthusiast watch community that I saw in Australia and what was available in Sri Lanka, especially at the time 2021. This is just when COVID started. You wouldn't see people talking about watches, or there was no enthusiast focus or a place for enthusiasts to come and talk about watches, enjoy watches, try watches out and stuff. So that was always the ethos behind starting Watch Boutique. It wasn't just to sell watches. Obviously we're a business, we have to make money, but the whole point since day one that we've always said is that it's for a place for watch enthusiasts and watch lovers to come together, not just to buy a watch. You don't have to buy a watch from us. You can come talk to us, see what watches we have in stock. We can see how we can help you, guide you through your watch journey and things like that. So that's why it started.
So, Imad, where are we on that? Like, do we have any development on building the community? How has the community grown?
Definitely. I mean, when I started, obviously in 2021, it was just by myself, from my home and then from my dad's office at one time, just operating at a very, very minute scale. From there onwards, obviously, we've built a huge community as well as a client base. I think we have more than 150 clients, all mostly repeat clients as well. We've already started initiatives of community projects and things of bringing people together, where we had an event last year for some of our good clients. So slowly, we're trying to get people in. I would say 50% of my clients especially are now people that I call dear friends of mine, even if they don't buy a watch from me, or if they want to buy a watch from me, I never tell them you have to buy this watch. It's always a conversation of what will fit their collection, their lifestyle, and what they like. So I would say, thankfully, by grace of God, it's been an amazing journey. I think we've come very, very far from where we are. And even if you consider the Sri Lankan watch market, obviously the watch boutique is at the top of the market, or in the watch community, known as not just a pre-owned dealer, but a place where you can come to for all of your watch needs, be it buying, selling, or just like I always say, talking about it, or engaging in the hobby, just in general.
I think, Imad, with all of that, I think there's something special. I think I want to go back to a little bit of in 2018. What was the story behind your first luxury watch? Let's say the story behind your first Rolex. I think there was a story. Then how did that come to your wrist?
So it's a bit of a weird situation where I think it was in 2018 that I actually first technically bought my first Rolex, but that was after about 6 months of buying and selling a few watches. I obviously didn't have the money to buy my own Rolex. So what I did was I borrowed a bit of money from family and I went out and bought a Rolex. I convinced them that it would be a good investment per se, and that I would return their money. Obviously, it's family, so they didn't really expect profit from me. But
Did you return the money though?
Definitely. So actually, I bought what is still one of my favorite watches. I own one personally, the Rolex Polar 16570, the Explorer 2. I think I bought that for about $7,800 AUD back then, and I think I sold it for about $8,500, $9,000 a few months later. So that is when I bought my first Rolex. So that's why the Explorer line is so precious to me, because that was the first Rolex that I actually bought. But the first Rolex that I actually bought for myself with my own funds per se was the Explorer 114270. So that was about a year later. I managed to keep selling watches like this and save up enough to buy my own Rolex. So that was the 114270 that I still have and rave on about.
Why Explorer 1? You had a plethora of options to choose, but why did you go for the Explorer 1?
The Explorer range, if you are in the watch scene back then, 2018, 2019, the Explorers are gaining a lot of popularity. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of big names in the industry kept talking about the Explorer, because it still is a very undervalued piece if you consider Rolex's lineup, especially the Explorer 1. It is a Rolex. It was worn by Edmund Hillary on his conquest of Mount Everest. It's a very robust watch. It does everything that you need. It's the perfect size for me, at least in 36 millimeters. So it basically did everything that you would need from a luxury watch, from a Rolex, and it was at least 30% cheaper than any other sports watch in the market. So at the time, it was a very, very good value. And you've got to own an Explorer to understand what's so special about it. I obviously built years of memories with my watch over the last 5-6 years, and I absolutely love it. There are a lot of other people also that obviously love this watch. If you go online, there are huge communities of people that just rave on about the Explorers and how special and amazing those watches are. So yeah, that is my favorite watch. I've said it a million times. That would be my end-all, be-all watch, and I just absolutely love that watch.
So moving on, Emad, I think wonderful story on the Explorer. And then moving on to the Sri Lankan market a little bit, we'll just touch on that. You spoke about a few hundred clients that we've served at the Watch Boutique, and that's an amazing number for the short journey that you've been in business and also the impact you've made. So do you have any stories from any other clients who've come to you on a very personal note, and you were able to make their watch requirements satisfied, or may go on to a trajectory where they did not know exactly what to buy, and then eventually they went on to see, okay, this is what I want and this is exactly what I need to get in the future as well. Do we have any stories like that?
Yes, I mean, I can't obviously mention names on for the camera and stuff like that, but the guys that are watching this will probably know who I'm talking of. But I have especially my personal clients that I service, who before they started, they might have had watches that I've gotten from various places, but I would say I have lots of clients from our list whose entire watch collection is only watches that they bought through me or through the Watch Boutique, and every piece that they buy has a reason why they buy it. It's not just buying it for the sake of it, or it's not just buying it because it's the newest, the latest and the greatest. So a lot of my these clients will chat. You guys can attest to sometimes I'm sitting with these guys for an hour or two. We're just discussing, we're just bantering, talking about watches, but also discussing what suits them best. So I have quite a few clients who like even today actually I was just on a call, and the client was like, I'm very happy with my watch collection, but you know what I want. If there's something that suits my lifestyle and my vibe, let me know if you get something else. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with my watch collection. This guy has, at the moment, he has about 4 watches in his collection. At one point, he had like 7.
Impressive.
So you keep it keeps changing for each person on what they want, you know, financially, emotionally, and you know, just aesthetically as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't have exact stories, I can't mention names, but yeah, I would say a lot of our clients, you know, we have curated literally the entire watch collection, and they're very, very happy with, you know, where they end up. Because before, if you didn't have somebody to talk to, you know, you just see something online and you'd go and buy it from wherever you want. But especially these guys, literally there have been times, you know, certain clients come in and they're like, yo man, I think I want to buy this watch, and I'm like, no, try it on and all of that, but I won't sell you though. I've literally not sold some of my clients a certain watch, even though they wanted it, because I didn't think it fitted what exactly, you know, they go for in their watch collections.
That's special, right? See, in terms of understanding what your client wants and trying to push options that they will prefer instead of you trying to be a little bit more business savvy as well.
Exactly, yeah.
But then it comes to me, it comes to this realization in Sri Lanka, right? See, where Sri Lanka is a more of a Rolex frenzied audience,
Yeah.
and they don't want to go on to the other models such as the Tudor, or even maybe look at a AP if you're a higher value buyer. But why has that been happening? Is it just because of the marketing and the brand value that Rolex has, or is it just that the Rolexes by far are the better looking luxury watches? It's always a very confusion or a question that I have all around it.
Yeah, that's something that I see as well, because I think the main reason is that there is a severe lack of knowledge and understanding, right? In my opinion, Rolex is great, they're one of my favorite brands, but my actual favorite brand is Seiko, because I think there's so much more value.
That's a very bold take coming from a luxury watch
they're
leader.
an older brand than Rolex is. They are completely vertically integrated. They have watches starting from $100 up to $100,000. So you know, there is a lot more value in some other brands, but yes, Rolex is the predominantly. I mean, I'd say 90% of what we sell are Rolexes.
And 90% of what's in the box is also.
Exactly. So the main reason is yes, a lack of, you know, awareness and knowledge. But obviously, Rolex is a great product. All of these people, generations, you know, they've always had a Rolex, and there is very good, obviously, value retention in Rolex. There's a lot more recognition when you're wearing a Rolex as opposed to if you're wearing a watch from another brand. So it's a mix of a lot of things. Again, that's not to say that Rolex is not a good investment or it's not a good watch or anything like that. They're great watches. They're really good at what they do. But we are actively trying to push to, you know, increase the variety of, you know, the watches that we sell, as well as, you know, the watches that people enjoy. So there is a lot more that can be done. That's what we're hoping to do. We know we actively try to bring different brands as well. Like just like Inshaf said, Tudor is an amazing brand history, amazing timepieces. But again, because it's considered the poor man's Rolex or Rolex's younger brother, a lot of people shy away from the brand. They'd rather buy an Omega than a Tudor. But again, personally, I prefer Tudor over Omega. But a lot of people, because again, Omega has that recognition.
See, the thing is, I feel that the Omegas have a lot of history in all of their watches and all that rich heritage that comes in.
Tudor has the same heritage.
Yeah, but I think the brand is more powerful in
Exactly. So again, it's a brand thing, right? It's not an actual product thing. So it's a mixed bag of reasons. Again, nothing is right or nothing is wrong. It's just us trying to do what best we can to give value and variety. And also me, because I've always said that I'm a watch enthusiast and a collector at first, and then a watch dealer. Like, so I also personally have other brands other than Rolexes that I personally, I've got a Ming, I've got a Grand Seiko. So that just what I enjoy in the hobby is what I also want to try and let other people experience as well.
Yeah. So bold take, Emad. So let's say there is someone who wants to start collecting watches or just is very passionate about watch collecting. Where could they start their journey? See, you've seen a lot of clients coming in who are very passionate about watches. They want to make their first decision in terms of a luxury watch. So where do you see a person like that starting their journey in terms of watch collecting?
So that's a bit of a tough question, because obviously, you know, watches are obviously at the end of the day, they're costly purchases, right? So it all depends on what your budget is. So depending on your budget, there are different watches that you can start for. Like I said, my first watch was a Seiko, and I bought it for 120 Australian dollars. So that's like, at the time, that would be 25,000 bucks. Obviously, you can't buy watches for that price now. But again, it depends on how much you want to spend and how much you want to educate yourself. The main thing is educating yourself so that you understand what exactly you are getting for what you're paying for and what exactly is out there. If you are just going to scroll Instagram, then you're only going to see Rolexes, APs, and Pateks. But if you're actually going into reading, you know, online magazines and things like that, and actually understanding the watch industry as well as horology itself, then there's a lot more to learn and understand. And from there, you know, you can understand what your taste is, what you like, and how you want to start and go about it.
But here's a small caveat to that whole construct. People want to see value in their watches as well. Say, let's say
100%.
you're spending a considerable amount of money on something on your wrist. One is to be a collector, two is to also wear it around in wherever you go. But people want to see some kind of value in what they purchase as well. So do you think something like a Seiko is going to keep that value within? Or is it that it might as well save a little bit more money to see how you can look at an option like an Omega or even a Tudor for that matter?
Definitely, again, so that's why budget comes into play. But also, it's watches have recently become a hobby that people think they may have to make money on, right? If you think about any other enthusiast hobby, you usually lose money. Like you have to pay the price of enjoyment, right? You go skydiving, you're not going to get a refund after you do the skydive. You spend money on it. So there's obviously money to be spent and quote unquote money to be lost. But again, there are ways that you can save money. You can buy savvy. Again, it all just comes down to understanding, right? If I made money selling Seikos and Tudors, that's obviously because I had the understanding of what they're worth intrinsically for the product that it is, as well as the market price, and what somebody would want to pay for it. The other main thing is that because of COVID and stuff, because obviously everybody knows the rapid increase in price, people are now have gotten used to the mentality of quick money. Like you can't buy a watch today and expect to sell it tomorrow and make money. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but true. But there are also people who want to take on watches as an investment option as well. So for that, if you're trying to lose money, where does the luxury watch market stand?
No, but the thing is that you can buy a watch for an investment. Although we don't suggest, or we don't this thing to buy a watch purely as an investment, because if you do that, because the whole point of what I've always said is that I've also never saved money, but I've put all my savings in watches. If you can wear something and enjoy something while saving money, I feel like that is where the main investment is. But if you buy something, for example, if you buy this James Cameron, it's a 44mm watch, you buy it as an investment, but you can't really wear it and enjoy it, your money is just stuck there. You'd rather put it in the bank and make money.
But I think something like a James Cameron is a very collector piece.
Yeah,
it needs a owner.
Exactly,
rather.
you've got to have somebody that enjoys.
It's not like everyday. It's not your everyday watch person who's going to come and look at a James Cameron and say, okay, this is a watch that I think will suit my lifestyle. But let's look at a general view of watches. We have a few GMTs as well. If you're looking at a GMT, what will the proposition be for as an investment piece?
Again, I don't want to keep talking about it just as an investment. Like I said, we'd like for people to buy it because they enjoy the watch. But again, if you keep it for long enough, it can be an investment. You can't, like, if you consider any other asset class or anything else that you invest money in, the minimum is at least a year. So if I take all these watches across the board, if you cancel out the price increase that we saw due to COVID and stuff like that, in general, there is a year on year, just an intrinsic increase in value, because even Rolex increases their retail prices every year by 5 to 10%, right? So that doesn't necessarily trickle down to the secondary market. But over the years with inflation and increasing cost of production and things like that, the value of the watch can increase little by little. So again, you might make more money in index funds or banks or treasury bills and stuff like that. But all of those places, your money is tied up. But here, for example, if I'm putting in X amount of rupees into this watch, if I get to wear it for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, if I'm bored of the watch or if I need money, I cash out, and yes, my money is safe and I actually even make profit on that, great. But at the end of 3 years, even if I break even, I've saved money for the last 3 years. The best example is the Grand Seiko that I was wearing. I bought it in 2018. I think I paid 5,000 AUD for it. At the time, that would have been about 750,000 rupees. I've had that watch for 5 years. No one says a Grand Seiko is an investment. But today, if I were to sell that watch, it would sell for anywhere between 1 to 1.5 million rupees. Right? I put my money in there, it's safe there. If I do need to sell it, I sell it and I cash out. But I never bought that watch as an investment. But if you want to look at it strictly in terms of numbers, it technically is an investment. I could, cash it out at a 50% profit technically.
Yeah,
so it's all about.
I think it balances out the equation.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Sri Lankan market a little bit though. How did the Sri Lankan average watch let's say watch client behave, or because what are the biggest brands or the most sought out models that they run after? Let's start from the Rolex ranges, because I think Sri Lanka is fond with the Rolexes.
Yeah.
And I think the tool watches get a very significant portion of that popularity and that interest over the non-tool watches as well. So how does that span out, and why is that the tool watches always have a better interest and a better popularity over the rest?
So that's a twofold question really, because yes, we sell a lot more sports watches. So they're called professional. So the professional watches are what have always been in demand. So that's what you have to buy on waitlist at Rolex. The Panda Daytona, the Rolex Pepsi, those are what actually start at the waitlist, right? So the sports models are what technically sell above retail, and that's what they're most in demand for. In the Sri Lankan market, we've always found that Datejusts are what most people prefer. Again, that's more so like an old money watch. That's where a lot of the older generation prefer buying that watch. A lot of the newer generation prefer the sports models. I know other dealers who would say predominantly they sell Datejusts, but for our case, I know that we predominantly sell sports models. I've got 2 Datejusts, 3 Datejusts in here. Everything is sports models, right? I think part of that is that we service more of a younger generation. And 2 is again that just comes down to us wanting to provide value for our clients, because if you take an example like Datejust and a Rolex Submariner at the same price, in my opinion the Rolex Submariner provides a lot more value than a Datejust at the money that you're paying. So whenever somebody wants to buy Datejust, I always give them the option of buying a sports watch for that money as opposed to the Datejust.
So then why would someone buy a Datejust in the first place?
Because that's what they've, since they're younger, they've seen their parents wear a Datejust. They've grown up and seen most people wearing Datejust, and I mean the Datejust is the quintessential Rolex, because that's obviously been there since 1906 or 1908, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. The Rolex Submariner came much later in the 40s, right? So the Datejust has always been Rolex's main model, and then the Submariner. So yes, we sell mostly of the sports models. From that, the Submariner and the GMT, I would say, are our most desired models, and then things like the Daytona and the Skydweller, I think, models that we sell after that.
So we've spoken a lot about how the Sri Lankan market operates, how the watch boutique came into existence. To cap it off, I think, Emad, what are our expectations for 2024? It's going to be a long year for Rolex and as well as other watch dealers as well. But what do you expect to see? What do you expect to see in terms of new models, in terms of price differences, and okay, do we also have any information about what models might get discontinued? Okay, let's make a bold prediction.
No bold prediction. I don't like to do predictions and all of that stuff for what this thing is coming. But yes, there has been huge stock of the Rolex Pepsi getting discontinued. They're getting very, very hard to find in the market. Prices have gone up significantly.
You think it's also just a speculation to get the price up?
That is usually what happens. But in this case, there are reports of the failure rate for producing this blue and red bezel is very, very high. It's a very, very tough process to actually make this in ceramic, because they actually dye it in red fully, and then they've got to dip it again to create the blue. So if you see how perfect the lining and stuff is, you'll see that it's very, very difficult to perfect that. So for that reason, the failure rate is extremely high for, I don't remember the exact number, but it's extremely high. So it's very hard for Rolex to produce. So that is the main reason for why we expect the Pepsi to be discontinued. Other than that, there are confirmed rumors, or it's confirmed that ADs across the world are not taking expressions of interest for the Pepsi anymore. So you can't, before, even though there was a 5-year waitlist, you could still go and put down your name on the waitlist, but now they're strictly not taking the names. For that reason, it seems like it's going to get discontinued. And lastly, it also seems that supply has heavily dried up. Over the last 3 months, it's been extremely hard to find a Pepsi to buy. So that also just shows that production from Rolex's side may have reduced, which then equates to possibly getting discontinued at the end of the year, in Q1 of this year.
So anything else?
Other than that, it's impossible to say what Rolex might release. Last year they did the curveball with the Sprite, with the new GRNR, which is a beautiful watch. So there haven't been any rumors that are out yet. I'm sure in a month or two we'll start seeing a few rumors.
I think once the rumors are in, we can discuss at length.
Probably
as well.
yes, yeah. But it's interesting to see what will happen, because this time, at least from what I've heard, everyone's a blank of what might come. So it'll be interesting to actually be surprised for once on what comes. I'd actually prefer if there are no rumors and leaks, and we're actually surprised for once, on what's actually
Emad, we are living in 2024. We can't not have rumors, leaks, and someone taking a picture from somewhere or the other. So we'll have to live with it.
Yeah,
like it happens.
True. I mean, it's good. In a way, it's good as well. It gives us some time to prepare and stuff like that. So we'll see what's to come.
Yeah, so this has been fun, Emad, the talking watches and talking watches, and I think time's flown.
Yeah,
talking watches, everything in between, and as well as trends. I'm not too happy with what you told about the speculations. I wanted something more than that. and
We'll see. Maybe
some
in the
more
next podcast
predictions,
we'll have something,
some more predictions on what you might expect. So I think we can get better on that.
Sure thing, boss.
So there you go. That's episode 1 with Watch Emad, and we hope you enjoyed this and see you on the next one.